In the autumn of 1998, a dusty cardboard box was discovered during the demolition of an abandoned Victorian house on the outskirts of Blackwood County. Inside were dozens of old family photographs, faded portraits, birthday gatherings, weddings, and ordinary moments frozen in time. But one photograph immediately stood out. It showed 7 smiling people standing in front of the house. At first glance, nothing seemed unusual. Yet every person in that photograph had died, exactly as the image appeared to predict. Police archived the photograph as an unexplained artifact, assuming it was only a coincidence. Years later, independent researchers reopened the case after noticing details that had never been documented. Hidden within the image were shadows, reflections, and tiny changes that seemed impossible to explain. The family in the photograph, the Harpers, had moved into Blackwood House in 1979. According to neighbors, they were ordinary people searching for a quiet life. But within months, strange events began. Clocks stopped at the same time every night. Doors opened by themselves. Children claimed they saw someone standing in empty rooms. Every incident was dismissed as imagination or stress. Then came the first tragedy. The youngest son, Daniel, drowned in a shallow pond behind the property. When investigators later examined the family photograph, they noticed something chilling. Daniel's reflection in the image wasn't standing with the others. Instead, it appeared beneath the water near the edge of the frame, as though the photograph had already recorded his fate before it happened. Nobody noticed at the time. Months passed. The family's grandmother died in her sleep after repeatedly saying that someone inside the house kept asking her to look at the picture. Again, the photograph revealed another impossible detail. A faint, elderly figure appeared behind an upstairs window, visible only after her death. The surviving family members became terrified. They locked the photograph inside a wooden cabinet, refusing to look at it again. But every time another death occurred, the image changed. The father disappeared during a violent thunderstorm while driving home. His abandoned car was discovered beside an empty bridge. In the photograph, his face had slowly become blurred, almost erased, days before he vanished. The mother insisted the picture was cursed. She attempted to burn it in the fireplace. Witnesses later claimed the photograph would not catch fire. The paper blackened around the edges, but the faces remained untouched, as though protected by something unseen. As rumors spread across Blackwood County, paranormal investigators visited the abandoned house. Audio recordings captured unexplained whispers. Cameras malfunctioned whenever they pointed toward the locked cabinet. One investigator reported hearing someone quietly counting backward from 7. The team finally removed the photograph and compared it with older copies taken years earlier. To their horror, every version was different. Shadows had shifted. New figures had appeared. Windows that were once empty now contained silent faces watching from inside the house. Then, something impossible happened. One investigator noticed an 8th figure standing behind the Harper family. No records identified who the person was. The figure wore dark clothing, had no visible facial features, and seemed to grow clearer each time the photograph was examined. Within weeks, members of the investigation team began suffering bizarre accidents. One died unexpectedly. Another disappeared without explanation. Survivors refused to discuss the case publicly. Authorities sealed the remaining evidence and classified the file as unexplained. Officially, the photograph was placed into secure storage. Unofficially, rumors claimed it vanished from the archive during a power outage years later. The story should have ended there. But in 2023, An antique collector uploaded a photograph purchased from an estate sale. Internet users quickly recognized Blackwood House in the background. The same 7 family members stood smiling in front of the camera. This time, there was a 9th figure. Online viewers initially believed it was photo manipulation. Then researchers compared the newly discovered image with archived newspaper scans. The 9th figure did not exist in any earlier version. Within months, the collector stopped posting online. Friends claimed he became obsessed with studying tiny details inside the photograph. He repeatedly said that the people in the background looked different every morning. He disappeared without leaving a trace. To this day, no one knows who took the original photograph, why it changes, or whether the mysterious figures represent future victims, or something far worse. Some investigators believe the image doesn't predict death. They believe it collects it. And according to one final rumor, anyone who stares at the photograph long enough eventually notices someone new standing in the background. The terrifying question is not whether the curse is real. The terrifying question is whether your face is already waiting inside the next version of the photograph.